completely stupid. Like sending a not so favorable email about your boss to your coworker, but putting in your boss's email address. That's stupid. Or maybe you accidentally somehow set the house on fire. It wasn't completely my fault, though. My mom did forgive me after I awoke from the coma she put me in. Mr. Contest Master, it's safe to say that we've all made mistakes before. Yeah. It comes with the territory of being human. Fellow Toastmasters, dignitaries, and all you imperfect people out there. Today I'm going to share with you 2 little words that has the power to free us, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. Those 2 little words are I'm sorry. But it's important to recognize the first rule of forgiveness, though. And that is to understand that the other person is a complete idiot. That idiot oftentimes needed forgiveness the most has been this guy. Take, for instance, setting the house on fire. There were a couple idiots involved in that one. Me and my cousin, let's just call him Einstein. Einstein took a 16-ounce bottle of gasoline and put it on top of the water heater. The water heater. You know where this is going, right? All of a sudden, the last thing I saw was just flames crawling up the wall. And my cousin Nicky running through the house with a garden hose, screaming, fire! My mom saying, the roof is on fire! When it was all said and done, I did exactly what my mom taught me to do. Junior, when you make a mistake, you apologize, and you do everything you can to make it right again. So guess what 2 little words I told her that day? I'm sorry. But there's an interesting part to this forgiveness thing. There are 2 sides to it. You know how when we make a mistake, how quickly we want to be forgiven, right? But what about when the tables are turned and we need to offer forgiveness? Are we as quickly, readily able to give it? Or do you find, like me, that we tend to weigh our forgiveness based on the size of the offense? Take, for instance, my stepfather. He was Darth Vader himself. Tall, blacker than mud, and ugly. The man seemed like he was allergic to dishwashing because he never did them. But I forgave him, though. Being an understanding human being and knowing the first rule of forgiveness is that the other person is an idiot, I forgave him. But there's one thing I could never forgive John for. It was a night he came home in a drunken rage and took his anger out of my mom. The screaming alone woke my brother and sisters and I from a sound sleep. Seeing her lifeless body on the floor in her own blood, I thought for sure she was dead. Luckily, she recovered from the repeated stumps to her head. But I couldn't recover from that. Something inside of me changed that night. It's like I went to the dark side. I got angrier and angry, and I got this hate and venge. And I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. You're saying, Donald, your mom said to forgive. But how could you forgive for that? Could you? It wasn't until somebody told me something. Said, Donald, you need to let it go. You're drinking poison, expecting John to die, and it's only hurting you. Years went by, and he served his time, went on life, but I was still closed behind those bars of hate. And it's funny though, how we tend to look at someone's worst and label them for that for life. The hardest thing I had to do was to realize that I needed to forgive John. But not only that, that I need to apologize to him. That I needed to tell him those two little words. I'm sorry. Fellow Toastmasters, the rhetoric of hate is glamorized today. It's in the movies and the pictures and the music. We see someone and we label them. Oh, that one's a criminal. That one's an abuser. That one is an illegal immigrant. But before all of these labels, we got to recognize that they were humans first. Just like you and me and people make mistakes. The most liberating thing I had to do was last Wednesday when I called John and I told him, I'm sorry. And when he said those words to me, it freed me. It doesn't hurt them. It only hurt us. Now, I'm not condoning wrong. Please don't think that. To forgive doesn't mean you condone, nor does it mean we're weak. No. I'm not weak that I forgave John. I am strong enough to know that he is human and will make mistakes. If I was labeled for my mistakes, I would be a lying, thieving arsonist. Who is it in your life you need to let go of? Who is it you need to say that to? Listen to me. I'm sorry. It will free you. Mr. Contest Master.